I've been teaching people in my cybersecurity course Discord server how to use Chat GPT to generate practice interview questions so they can practice for their interviews for a few months now, and it's actually working. Like, people are actually getting jobs with it. So I decided I would just go ahead and make a video about it.
Gotcha.
This is such a huge game changer. I would bet everything that I own that at least some people watching this are going to implement it and then subsequently get a job from it. So hopefully you're one of those people. So if you ever plan to apply to a job in the future again, definitely put this on like 1.5x and watch it to the end. I promise you won't regret it. Just for some context for you, we're going to very quickly cover what Chat GPT is, how you should think about and use it. We're going to talk about what a prompt is and prompt engineering. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to generate practice interview questions for specific jobs that fit you specifically based on your resume. Basically, Chat GPT is just a service that lets you DM a demigod all day long. And this demigod basically is all knowing, and it will answer your questions tirelessly all day long without complaining. I say ChatGPT is a demigod and not an actual god because for me, like, an actual god would know like all the secrets of the universe, like stuff that humans have no idea, like they have no way of knowing, right? Whereas a demigod, like, they know pretty much everything there is to know, like, about humanity, like the stuff we've recorded in our literature. Maybe the demigod like knows all possible languages. They know all of those, like, math and science, everything that all humans know. You can kind of assume that ChatGPT knows, and that's why I call it a demigod. And I notice a lot of people using ChatGPT as if it's Google or something. They just like throw keywords at it, but that's not like the optimal way to do it. You should like talk to it like it's a human, like it understands like full sentences and like paragraphs, because it does for all intents and purposes. So for example, if your Japanese mother-in-law is coming over for dinner and it's like the first time you're meeting her in like a long time, you might go to Google and say something like, you know, simple Japanese recipes, like something like this. Whereas with ChatGPT, you can actually go to GPT and say something like, oh, my Japanese mother-in-law is coming over. She's 50 years old. She grew up in Fukuoka. She lived briefly in Kobe. She enjoys Australia. Like, what do you think I should prepare for her for dinner? Like something like this. In ChatGPT, you can kind of think about it like a human. It will take all of those like detail and nuance that you gave it and correlate them, and it will, in its demigod head, it will be like, okay, the mother-in-law is 50, grew up in Fukuoka. She probably likes Hakata ramen. Oh, maybe she likes Kobe beef because she spent time in Kobe. It will take these things into consideration and it will formulate something for you that's tailored to the information that you gave it, if that makes sense. And if you dump that like huge paragraph into Google, like, it might come up with something good sometimes, but it doesn't have like the capacity, at least at the time of me recording this, to like really like properly correlate all of those things and like come up with like a proper like list of stuff for you. It's an index for like the internet, essentially. It's going to try to find the best thing that matches, if that makes sense, instead of like coming up with something on its own for you like ChatGPT would. So prompts and prompt engineering, this is like super simple. A prompt is just essentially the DM that you send to the demigod. It's the message that you send to ChatGPT. And prompt engineering is adjusting that message to kind of get the output that you want to get from the demigod, aka the output that you get from ChatGPT. So for example, if I say my Japanese mother-in-law is coming over for dinner, what should I make? ChatGPT might tell you some Japanese recipes. But if ChatGPT responds like a little bit too generic, like it tells you to make her some onigiri, like rice balls or something like this, you then could make use of prompt engineering and be like, okay, my Japanese mother-in-law is coming. She's 50. She's from Fukuoka. She's been to Kobe. She likes Australia. And kind of providing it more context and more nuance and stuff. This is prompt engineering. You're giving ChatGPT stuff in order to make the output better or make the output like fit more of like what you want, if that makes sense. And with prompt engineering, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can get it to respond in different languages, like please respond in Latin, please respond in Mandarin Chinese. You can say, please formulate your response in JSON format, like if you're using the API, and might make the response more easy to deal with. You can say, please make your response succinct. Please respond to me like I'm a 10-year-old. Please respond to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Pretty much anything you can imagine. So getting into the actual prompt that we're going to use to create our sample interview questions and answers, it's going to be this crazy looking thing right here. I'll put a link for this in the description so you can kind of use it and follow along with it, but I'll just kind of explain how this thing works and how it all ties together. So basically the stuff in bright yellow here, this is the stuff that you're going to actually change and like put stuff here to make it work for you. This is like how many questions you want, the difficulty of the questions. You're going to paste your resume here, and then you'll paste the job description here. And then the rest of this prompt instructs ChatGPT in what to do and like how to do it. So basically, We say, based on the job description sections above, please generate me some interview questions with answers. So that's what this is, job description section. For the answers, where appropriate, please use the information from the resume. So in answering the questions, use information from the resume so the answers can be like tailored to you and your experience, if that makes sense. The number of questions you will generate is specified after count, which is up here. The difficulty of the questions being generated is specified above directly after difficulty, which is here. And then basically I tell Chat GPT easy, medium, hard, and hard questions will have the attributes defined below under these sections. So basically what this means is I'm telling Chat GPT for easy questions, these are the attributes I want them to have. For medium questions, I want them to have these attributes, and then same thing for hard questions, I want them to kind of have these properties. That's what makes a hard question hard, if that makes sense. And then when coming up with answers, do your best to answer the questions based on what's provided in the resume. So prioritize the information on the resume when answering questions, so the answer can be tailored to your personal experience. But if this is not possible, like a question is asking something that's like not on the resume, just come up with an answer that shows the candidate understands the question being asked. And then finally, this purple section, I'm just explaining to ChatGPT how I want the answers to be output when it's actually like dumping the questions and answers for me. So it's pretty much all there is. It's pretty straightforward. This took me about maybe 30 minutes to come up with. This is kind of my own prompt engineering style with these like open and close tags. I don't think this is like, something you have to do, but it makes sense to me, and ChatGPT understands it. So that's kind of, that's just what I do. So, okay, on to making the questions. We'll just copy this whole thing. We'll go to ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT 4. I pay for it. I think it's like $20 a month, something like this. We'll scroll up. I'm going to paste my resume here. So this is one of my old resumes. If you don't have a resume, I'll put like a sample one in the description that you can use. So I'll paste my resume here, and then we'll go to Indeed, and I'll just search like, I don't know, just NIST 861 incident response, and we'll pick a random job from here. Job roulette, principal cybersecurity analyst. That's very cool sounding. And then conduct traffic analysis. Okay, so we'll copy these. We'll just copy this whole job description. This looks like a defense contract. We'll go to ChatGPT and we will paste the job description here and just simply say go. And it should just start creating some sample interview questions and answers for us. It says, given the request, I'll generate 5 easy interview questions based on the job description and provide answers using the information from the resume. ChatGPT, very smart. So question 1, can you briefly describe your experience with vulnerability management and analysis? Apparently this is part of the job. And luckily for me, I had some like vulnerability management on my resume. So it's just doing its best to create an answer based on what's on my resume. If you don't have vulnerability management, by the way, Qualys has a free vulnerability management training. Question 2, have you worked with any cybersecurity tools or platforms? If so, which ones? And then, I just dump these out. Of course, if you've done some labbing, you're going to have something on your resume, at least for this anyway. And then I'll just kind of like let this finish going. Oh, how do you approach a situation where you need to analyze potentially harmful or sensitive content while ensuring user privacy, etc. So I can just kind of stop this, and you can get an idea, of how this works. So you can, if you wanted to, you can just like edit your original prompt again. You want to get like, 50 questions instead of 5, and you can say hard, right, instead of medium, and it will come up with, a bunch more questions for you. So I want to do one more of these, but I'm going to use like a random kind of farmer interview and like a farm job from Indeed just to see what comes out. So for example, I made this resume. I just asked ChatGPT to make me a farmer's resume. I don't even know what's on it, but I'm going to first I'm going to copy our prompt, go to GPT, paste it, get the farmer resume, copy that, paste it here for the resume, and then I'll find a farmer job on Indeed. Crop scout, parrot caretaker. Okay, that sounds like an ideal job. So I'll just copy all these, go to GPT, job description, paste that in here, and it just generates some, decent farm interview questions and answers. Again, like I don't even know what's on that resume. I didn't look at this job beforehand. I have like no idea, right? I don't even know that whatever parrot caretaker even existed. And it generates pretty decent questions and answers. So Definitely something you can use. I 100% like if you happen to get an interview, I would like 10,000%, scour, the job description, grab that whole thing, anything else I could learn about the company. And I would do like a lot of interview questions, maybe like 50 minimum, to be honest, if I really cared about the job a lot. And I will say there's a lot of other stuff I use Chat GPT for, so I'll probably make videos in the future, but I use it a lot, like multiple times a day, every single day. I have a subscription for it. My team uses it. It's just really, really helpful, and it's really crazy. I highly recommend getting used to using it and kind of incorporating it in your day-to-day life. It can save you like a lot of time and energy.